It's Sunday, August 26th. I'm at Deer Creek and I have tried to find an area as far away from people in cars as I could, and so you'll see that this solitary parking lot has one car in it. That's mine. I launch and head out over the beach or the lake. I will not fly over people and I will not fly over structures. So no buildings, no dams, uh, no groups of people unless I can avoid that or unless I'm sure it's absolutely safe. So I launch and I head for the lake and the beach with no intention of flying over the beach. When I get high enough to see it, what I realize is that the entire area of the beach has been marked off with a track. I still don't know what kind of a race it was. You can see the markings there on the grass. What I could hear was a loudspeaker, and he was obviously reporting the race and cheering people on and making a god-awful racket. So anyway, Sunday afternoon at Deer Creek Park, State Park, had been given over to some sort of probably a four-wheeled vehicle, all-terrain vehicle kind of race. So I went beyond the beach to this area that I actually returned to later with the second video. That black strip is a model airplane runway. And when I get to it later with the second video, I'll explain in more detail what happened there. What I'm really doing here is simply exploring the beachfront or the lakefront, kind of randomly actually. It was a very sunny day, so I used a darkening filter for the first time, a higher degree of filter darkening than I have used before. This was a ND8, I believe. Yeah, I've used ND2 before. This was ND8, and then I also have one for ND16. There's the parking lot, and you can see that there are relatively few cars in the lot, but they had monopolized the beach. So there were very, very few people on the beach. In fact, later you'll see that there was only one boat on the lake. So I guess if they're going to take over the park, that this is good as day as any to do that. Anyway, I'm flying back down to my solitary site, which you can see at the end of that first fork in the road there, the one to the left, and there's the empty parking lot except for me. Notice there are no boats on the lake. Well, there might be one out there. And then very near to shore there are a couple of rowboats, fishing boats. So I land, pack up my drone, and head for another area, the area where model planes can be flown. I've driven now a little bit west beyond the beach parking lot, and I'm launching from the farthest end of a decaying, I don't know what the word, falling apart parking lot with lots of weeds growing in it. I'm trying to get as far away from the model airplane people as I can. So I launch from this dilapidated parking lot, obviously not kept up. I fly out over the lake. There's one speedboat on the lake. And there it is. That long peninsula has campgrounds, but it also, at the very beginning of it, has the Deer Creek Lodge, which you can see on the right. Quite a beautiful place. I've been there several times for meals and gatherings. It's starting to get pretty warm. When I left, it was almost 85 degrees and quite humid. So I just came home and turned on the air conditioning and got cooled off. Got cooled off in more ways than one, because I was a little bit irate when I left, not because of what happened at the model airplane place. In fact, I was quite grateful to the gentleman who came up and told me it was illegal not for me to fly. It was fine for me to fly, but it was illegal for me to take any photographs, either still or video. And he had come up to me while I was still in the air and explained this to me, and I said, well, let me land my drone and we can talk about it. And he was quite a gentleman, and apparently had to tell people this before. His model aircrafts cannot have photographic equipment, and drones cannot have photographic equipment, but he assured me it was quite legal to fly a drone if I took the camera off. I couldn't even have the camera on the drone. Even if I weren't using it, I couldn't have it on the drone. And he explained all of this to me, and he said it's not a matter of the state park regulations. And I had looked at the state park website, and sure enough, there were no regulations against photography or drone flying, either one. It's a matter of the Army Corps of Engineers. And I said, well, why would that be? And he said, well, I know, but I'm not allowed to tell anyone. So that started me thinking, and I'll share those thoughts in just a moment when this video ends. So after I landed, I went in search of signs that would indicate what the gentleman had told me, that it was illegal to do photography. I found this sign. Nothing there about photography. That's the site for the model airplane flyers, and they started to congregate. There were probably about 8 or 9 of them when I finally left that area. And I saw this sign. Nothing about photography there. And finally, when I left the area, I found this sign. The model airplane air park at Deer Creek. And of course, I have FAA registration. But the fine print says absolutely no aerial photography, video, or FPV flying permitted at any time. So that's the small print. That's what I was in violation of, and I apologize to the Army Corps of Engineers if I have done something that, I don't know, offends or unstabilizes the Corps, or I don't know, maybe I've jeopardized the security of our nation without realizing it. So that's the end of my video. Thank you for watching.